All right, E3, how we doing tonight? Yeah, somebody get excited. Hey, I got a couple announcements here before we begin to add on. In your handouts, you might notice at the bottom where it says Student Leadership Forms. Now, a while back, some of you grabbed the Student Leadership Forms to fill out, and only a couple have returned them. So if you would like to be a student leader, please turn those sheets into me. And if you're wondering what student leadership is, basically what it is you're called to be exactly that, a student leader. Not only here, but in your schools, in your communities. We meet once a month, and really we go on mission discipling basically our community and our school, essentially is what it comes down to. And we just kind of have that extra accountability. So if you are wanting to be a part of that, let me know. That team kicks off in November. Also, man, I encourage you guys, as you saw on the screen, to come to Light Up the Darkness here at E3. That's New Year's Eve. This is a big event for us, and we would absolutely love to see each and every one of you guys there. So just keep that in mind. And man, we are so pumped to be a part of that, and we just love to have you guys there because it's really our entity. So we want you guys there connecting with other youth throughout the area. So keep that in mind. Before we begin, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lucas Rappenecker. I'm the teaching pastor down here at the E3 Youth Center, and I am just, every week, I'm so grateful and humbled to just be here teaching God's Word to you guys. So tonight, before we begin, I just want to get into a time of prayer. Father, thank you so much for all that you do, Lord. Father, I thank you that you are the one who gives us joy, and you alone bring us joy. And Lord, I just pray for those of us tonight who are experiencing trouble with our mental health, Lord, that we feel like, man, I can't get my head clear, so to speak. Father, I pray that you would intersect and that you would clear our minds. And Father, I thank you so much for all that you do, and pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Hey, well, I want to start tonight off with a story that'll hopefully give us some traction for where we're headed tonight. I want to take you guys back in time a little bit. I want to take you back to August 12th, 2021, and some of you are like, I'm not really sure what that day was, and I was like, oh, well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm about to tell you. What was that day, and what was the significance of it? Well, that was the first ever Major League Baseball game played here in the great state of Iowa at the Field of Dreams site in Dyersville, right? And needless to say, being a baseball fan, I was pretty excited, right? I was really excited about it. So what do? After work, what do? I go home and I make my way to the couch, right? And all of a sudden, if you've ever seen the movie, the main actor is Kevin Costner. And so he comes out, he goes to the pitcher's mound, and what's he do? He starts delivering this great speech about Iowa and what an honor it is to be at the Field of Dreams, right? And of course, he ends it with this. Is this heaven? No, this is Iowa. Iowa, right? And so I'm already getting pretty hyped up about this whole deal, right? And then after he gives his speech, the Yankees take the field, right? And the White Sox take the field, and they're coming out of the corn, and I'm really, really excited at this point, right? And I'm getting a little emotional just watching it, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, this guy. And so now we get into the game, and what happens, right? I'm still watching it, and these two teams are going back and forth and back and forth. And this game is just like a Hollywood movie almost, right? And so what happens? Now it's the top of the ninth inning, and what happens? The Yankees are the visiting team, and they're down 7-4 to the White Sox. And so what happens? Well, Aaron Judge comes up to the plate. He smashes a 2-run homer. Yankees are down a run. And then Giancarlo Stanton comes to the plate and proceeds to do the same thing. He hits a 2-run home run. The Yankees go up 8-7. And of course, Katie is in the living room with me, and she's cheering for the Yankees, and I'm cheering for the White Sox, and she's kind of all in on it. She's like, man, I can't believe that they came back, right? And so the bottom of the ninth inning comes up, and this happens. Tim Anderson called game there, right? He said, I'll take care of this, right? So he launches that 2-run homer to give the White Sox the walk-off victory. Now, here's what's really interesting about this scenario, right? This is happening real time, and what do? I hop out of the chair as fast as I can, right? And I start screaming and yelling to the point where all of a sudden, I'm not screaming and yelling anymore. Now my head's in a lot of pain, right? I'm like, feel like I'm going paralyzed because there's this pain in my head that's shooting clear down to my toes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what just happened here, you know? And I'm walking around the house and I'm like, oh, Katie, like we might need to go to the hospital, right? And she's like, just calm down, you're fine. And so I was like, yeah, I guess so, right? What happened? Well, I pinched a nerve in the back of my neck. Why? Because I jumped up and started acting like a 5-year-old, right? And I was screaming around, and needless to say, it would seem that I was filled with joy, right? Needless to say, it seems as if I was filled with joy, right? I think for some of us, I tell this story because it's pretty easy to attach joy with our team, right? Like I can relate to this all the time, of course. Like Iowa goes on to beat Ohio State, you know. I'm ecstatic. I can't believe it. Some of you can probably relate to that. Like, oh my gosh, the Chiefs won again. I'm ecstatic, right? And also the adverse of that is true, right? Like I hate the Chiefs. I can't stand the Chiefs. So anytime the Chiefs lose, I'm a pretty happy guy, right? I'm pretty joyful, so it seems, right? And maybe you're not into the NFL or college football, but maybe you're like, man, nothing makes me happier than when our volleyball team goes out there and just kills it, or Mount Pleasant goes out there and beats Fairfield, or Fairfield beats Mount Pleasant, or Waco loses. That was always a good day for a Winfield grad, right? Or maybe it's not even sports. Maybe, you know, you're hopping on Fortnite, you're hopping on Roblox, whatever it is, and you're like, man, my squad just absolutely dominated, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm pumped, right? Regardless, it gives us this feeling that we can all relate to, right? And that's seemingly this feeling of joy. Now, here's the thing about joy. We chase it. All the time we chase it. What do I mean by that? Well, think about it. We go from experience to experience trying to pursue it. We go from vacation to vacation trying to pursue it. We go from thing to thing, shoe to shoe, purse to purse, game to game, all in this chase of joy. And we want joy. See, we do all the things. We apply to different schools. We get on the team. We do all the things to try to find joy. And tonight, we're going to look at how we can have joy. Why? Because I don't think that you guys need me to tell you this. I think you're wise enough to know this, because life isn't always the ball game. Life isn't always vacations. Life isn't always puppies. Life isn't always kittens. Life isn't always fun. And I know that sounds like a real bummer out there to some of you, but I, again, think that you guys already know this, right? Life can be really hard. Life can be boring. It's not always happy. Rejection happens. You get that letter in the mail that says, I didn't get into school. You go to school and you get rejected by that group of kids, right? Or you didn't get asked to homecoming. Your life can seemingly be like, oh my gosh, this isn't what my life, or I thought my life would be like right now. You have this picture of what you think your life would be like, and you say, man, I don't know that my life looks anything like I thought it would. And I'm chasing after this feeling of joy, and I can't seem to find it anywhere. And why can't I? Or maybe that's not you. Maybe you have everything you could ever ask for, right? Maybe, you know, you've got the shoes, you've got the closet, you've got the friends, you've got all the tangible things. Everybody wants to ask you out. Everybody wants to be your friend. You know, everybody wants me. I seemingly lack nothing. So why do I not have joy? See, the Bible illustrates that wherever you're at in life, and that means wherever you're at in life, whether you have it all or whether you have nothing, you can still have joy. So tonight we're going to walk through 3 points as it relates to joy, and how to navigate joy, and how we can ultimately have joy. So point number 1 on your handout is this: what joy is. What joy is. Joy, according to the dictionary, says this: joy is a feeling of great pleasure and happiness. And here's how often I think we think about it. right? We think of it like this, hey man, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get the girl, I'm going to get the guy, I'm going to win the lottery, I'm going to win the game, we're going to win the game, I'm going to get a 36 on my ACT, I'm going to pass the test, I'm going to go to the party, I'm going to sit with these kids, I'm going to have a lot of friends, millions of friends, I'm going to have a lot of followers, I'm going to go out, I'm going to be the All-American athlete, I'm going to wake up every morning and get my athletic greens in, and let me tell you what, if my life looked anything like what you just described to me, I can tell you that I would have joy in it, but my life doesn't look like that. So I don't have joy, but here's the reality. The dictionary says that joy is a feeling of great pleasure and happiness, but the reality of it is, according to the Bible, is that joy isn't a feeling. It's a choice. Joy is not a feeling, it's a choice. Joy is something that you have a choice about, and you can choose to be joyful. Joy is no doubt something that we pursue, but it's not a mood. It's not an emotion, yet so often we view it as this emotion, right? We view it as this feeling, but really the mood that you're chasing after, the feeling that you're chasing after is happiness, right? It's happiness. Why do I say that? Well, because we want things to go our way all the time. We want X, Y, and Z to line up. We want everything to work out. We want the relationship to work out. We want to be dominant at whatever it is. We want to be the best at football. We want to be the best at Fortnite. We want to be the best at volleyball. We want to be the best at cheer. We want to be the best at whatever it is, right? And we kind of, I think if we look back on our life, want it to be like one big amusement park ride. Like every step that I turn, every direction I turn is, man, it's always so fun, and everything goes my way. There's no flaws in my life anywhere, and I turn this way and people love me, and I turn the other way and people love me, and there's no flaws in my life and everybody loves me. And I think oftentimes we look for happiness and not joy, right? Happiness and not joy. These two things are not the same. Why? Happiness is circumstantial. Happiness is circumstantial. Iowa wins, yay. I'm talking to the popular kids, yay. The Chiefs lose, yay. I got first chair, yay. I got selected to All-State Band, yay. I got onto the team, yay. I got into AP Chemistry, good for you, buddy, yay. Joy isn't circumstantial. Regardless of your circumstance, you can choose to have joy. Think about it. Think about it. Why do I say that? Because there are people right now that live in huts, literal huts. And some of us are out here whining because mom took the Xbox away last night. We're like, oh my gosh, this is so unfair. There are people living in huts that have seemingly nothing. And yet these same people are smiling about it. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm living in a hut, that doesn't sound real joyful to me. Right? Like, where is the joy in that? But these people, there are people doing it day after day after day, and despite their circumstance, despite the things that they don't have, despite all the lack, they still have joy. They still have joy. And there are also people who just lost their mom. There are people who just lost their dad. They just lost their kid. People who just lost their husband, who just lost their wife. People who lost their grandma or their grandpa, who just got the diagnosis. The doctor came in and said, I've got bad news for you. There are people that are living this reality, right? There are people that are living this reality. Come in and got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and you talk to some of these people, and they seem like they have something that you don't have, because despite their circumstance, despite all the ways the world is trying to work against them, it's like, oh my gosh, they have something that I don't have. Yes, they do. It's called hope and joy, if you're in that boat. Right? They have hope and joy. Now, let me tell you why this is important, because no one ever wakes up and does this. No one ever wakes up and goes, hey, I hope today is the day that my friend who I've known forever goes to school. I hope today is the day that all my friends leave. I hope today is the day that I get that rejection letter from school. I hope today's the day that I get rejected at school. Because I can't wait to exercise my joy. Nobody does this. Yet despite all this, joy is still a choice. You can choose God's goodness in whatever situation that you're in. Why do I say that? Paul, the author of the majority of the New Testament, was in prison a lot. And this prison wasn't exactly like prison now. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, he's got 3 square meals and, he can go watch TV whenever he wants. This prison wasn't like that at all. This prison was very literally a hell on earth, right? He would get whipped, he would get flogged, he would get beaten, he would be tied to stones. People would mock him. And you know what we'd be doing, I think, if we were in that same prison cell? We might be doing something like this. There's no Xbox in prison. When am I going to get out of here? I can't do this forever. This is miserable. I can't take it. I feel isolated. Where are all my friends? Where are all the things, right? And Paul says this from a prison cell. Let's think about it. Philippians 4:11 through 12. Paul says this. Not that I was ever in need, for I have learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret to living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or an empty one, with plenty or with little. Paul chose joy in his circumstance because joy isn't circumstantial. It comes from contentment and knowing who Jesus is and knowing that he always does what he says he's going to do. Jesus always does what he says he's going to do, and we can have joy in that hope. And I'll have people come up to me and be like, yeah, well, my grandma, she had cancer, and I've heard that, Jesus heals people, and I didn't see her get healed here on this earth, and that doesn't make sense to me, and he says that he's a healer, but I don't know about that. And can I tell you something? She doesn't have cancer now. He is who he says he is. And can I tell you something else about God? He always has our best interest in mind. Every single time. He is who he says he is. He's our healer. He's our provider. He's our protector. He never changes. Paul was content in knowing that fact and that truth. And he was able to choose joy despite being in prison. Paul knew that God is faithful. Paul knew that overall, God was faithful, and here we go. Paul says some of the most famous words ever written in the Bible. So many of us put this in our Instagram bio. Most everybody takes it out of context. Philippians 4:13, for I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. Paul writes this knowing where joy is truly found, knowing where joy truly comes from. He writes this knowing that whatever situation that he was in, because of Jesus, and because of Jesus' payment, he knew that he could walk through any situation. That Jesus would give him strength in any situation. He said, God, I'm trusting you. Whatever situation that I'm in, I'm looking to you for my strength. Because you are my strength. Joy isn't a feeling, it's a choice. So point 2 on your handout is this. What keeps us from joy? Focusing on the wrong things. Focusing on the wrong things. Why do I say that? Because I think so often we look to our desires to give us joy. Right? We look to our desires to fulfill us. It's similar, or it's kind of like this. If I go out and if I get into that relationship, if I go out and I get those friends, if I go out and I get that expansion pack, if I go out and I get those shoes, if I go out and I get that house someday, if I go out and I start that business someday, if I go out and when I'm 16, get that car and drive that car, if I get that purse, if I go out and have over 5,000 Instagram followers, then I'll have joy. If I go out and I get the chair, if I get into All-State Bandit, if I get into National Honor Society, if we win the game, if we do this, if I do that, then I will have joy. And to that I would say, no, you won't. You will have temporary happiness. You will have temporary happiness. Why? Because we dial in our feelings. We follow our heart. We hear that all the time. Follow your heart. Like, what do you want? What do you want? Where do you want to go to school? What do you want to play in band? Well, I don't know. Well, just follow your heart. Well, just follow your heart. Well, your heart seems to change its mind about 120 times a day if you haven't caught on to that by now. Do you want to date them? Follow your heart. Do you want to go here? Follow your heart. Yeah, well, my heart's all over the place, and I can't figure it out. We're so focused on our emotions. We seemingly continue to chase the high, chase the highs, chase, one high to another high, to another high, to another high. And can I tell you, as a church, as a whole, we do this. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Why do I say this? Because I think so often as a church we say things like this: I want that worship experience. I'm not going here. I want people my age to be around. I want that experience. I'm not going there. I'm not going to big service. I'm not doing that. Why? Because I feel like God's not there. I feel like God's not speaking to me there. Yeah, because you're so focused on your emotions and what's in it for you. And what's in it for you, right? It's all about me. And I ask you this question: where is your heart focused? Is it focused on feeding your desires? Or is it focused on the one thing that matters? We want what we want, whenever we want, and we think whatever gives us pleasure in life is good, so we need to chase after it. If it feels good, then it must be good. It's similar to this. It's similar to going to Pizza Ranch. Weird segue, but this is going somewhere, people. What happens at Pizza Ranch? We've probably all been there or somewhere like it. What happens at the Pizza Ranch? You go up there, and this is just me. It's like, oh my gosh, here's the barbecue chicken pizza. Yeah, I think I'll take some of that. Fried chicken. Yeah, I think I'll take some of that. Of course, mashed potatoes. Yeah, pile them on, right? Oh, I can't forget about the cactus bread. The more the merrier with that. And the ice cream and the root beer and all the things, right? And I think this is what we do with our lives. We chase whatever we think will give us pleasure, except it never satisfies us truly. Right? We act like this life is a buffet, but it never satisfies. We follow our heart, but 2 seconds later, our heart's changed its mind, and our heart's not content anymore. We want this now, right? We get the thing that we wanted 2 seconds ago, and the thing that we thought would bring us satisfaction, and now, all of a sudden, I'm not satisfied anymore. So maybe I'll go to the next thing, the next experience, the next vacation, the next relationship. Maybe that will bring me joy. Maybe that'll bring me joy. We follow our desires so often, it leads to despair. Why? Because we're focused on the wrong things. We're focused on pleasure to bring us joy, rather than walking with Jesus to experience joy. What else do we do, I think, that robs us of joy? I know this is true in my own life sometimes. We kind of live this idea of a perfect life. Like our life is just a fantasy here on earth. This world is broken. See, but we sit back and we want all the things. We get so focused on all the things that we see. We want the outfits, we want the shoes, we want the latest Apple Watch, we want the newest iPhone. We dream of this fantasy where we can just have all the things, right? We dream of this fantasy where life's easy and we're just sitting on the beach, or we're just sitting in front of our Xbox, or we're just sitting in front of the TV, or we're just sitting in front of our phone, and we just sit there, and life's just easy all the time. And we want money, but we don't ever work to get it, and somehow we have enough, though, right? And we don't do anything to get into the school that we want, but yet somehow we get into the school that we want to get into. We want to start the team, but we don't put any effort into it, and yet somehow we always start the team. We kind of get caught up in this fantasy, so to speak, right? And getting caught up in a fantasy is going to rob you of joy. Some of you in here tonight may be thinking, well, wait a second. I don't even have a relationship with Jesus, but I have joy. I've got all the things. I've got a good family. I've got the newest things. Everybody wants to be my friend. I'm the best at everything that I do. I have joy. You have happiness. You don't have joy. Well, what's that mean? Just as I alluded to earlier, it's not going to sustain you. I've got joy. I don't need God. it's similar to something like this. Let's say we go skydiving, right? Let's say we go skydiving and we get up in the air and it's just you and me, and you say, well, I don't need God, I've got joy, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll go first, and I jump out, and then you jump out, right? And, we're both there, and we're screaming, and we're like, oh, yeah, this is so great, we're really living now, except you don't have a parachute. Except you don't have a parachute. But in the moment, it feels really good. In the air, it feels really good. Oh my gosh, I'm really living now. But the ground is coming. The ground is coming. If you think that you can have joy without Jesus, eternity is coming. Eternity is coming. John 6:27 says this. But don't be so concerned, rather, about perishable things like food. Spend your energy seeking the eternal life that the Son of Man can give you. For God the Father has given me the seal of His approval. What are we focused on because the ground's coming? Here's a hypothetical question for you. There's two options here. And let's say you have to choose between one of them. If you could have the hottest husband and the hottest wife, if you could have the biggest and nicest house, if you could have the fastest and coolest car, if you could have the biggest bank account, if you could have 100 million followers, if you could have the Gucci belt or the Louis bag, if you could have all the latest dunks, you could have the newest console, all the games, all the things, or you could have Jesus and have none of the things, what would you choose? What would you choose? Now, don't misunderstand me when I say this, because Jesus very much wants to bless us. But what would you choose? Because I know what my feelings want. I know what my feelings want. I want the blue check mark. I want the newest truck. I want more money in the bank than the bank can insure. I want to go to Fiji. I want what I want. I know what I should choose. We know what we should choose, but I think so often our feelings get in the way. We're consumed with everything, seemingly, but the true source of life. And yet Jesus had the same exact experience for all the things. He had the same choice to experience all the things of this world. It's in Matthew 4, verses 1 through 11. I want to read it to you. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted there by the devil. For 40 days and 40 nights he fasted and became very hungry. During that time the devil came and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become loaves of bread." But Jesus told him, "No. The Scriptures say people do not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city, Jerusalem, to the highest point of the temple, and he said, "If you're the Son of God, jump off. For the Scriptures say He will order His angels to protect you, and they will hold you up with their hands so you won't even hurt your foot on a stone." And Jesus responded, "The Scriptures also say that you must not test the Lord your God." Next, the devil took him to the peak of a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. "I will give it all to you," he said, "if you will kneel down and worship me." "Get out of here, Satan," Jesus told him. "For the Scriptures say you must worship the Lord your God and serve only Him." Then the devil went away, and the angels came and took care of Jesus. I think sometimes in life we get so consumed with life that we miss the true point of it. We look for joy under the sun, meaning we look for joy in all the things here on earth. We look and we look and we look for joy and we can't find it. And whether we realize it or not, we're muttering the words of Ecclesiastes when we do things like this. Ecclesiastes 1:1 says this, "Everything is meaningless," says the teacher, "completely meaningless. What do people get for all their hard work under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth never changes." The whole encapsulation is chasing after the sun, or chasing after the wind, rather. It's meaningless. Meaningless. So often we look for life under the sun. We look for life under the sun. For us to find joy. We want to find joy under the sun. Yet for us to have true joy, we have to go beyond the sun, beyond the S-U-N, sun. We have to go to the sun, S-O-N, sun, in order to find true joy. Because Jesus chose us. So how do we have joy? Point 3 is this: we choose Jesus. God gives us Jesus. This is written through the whole Scripture. How do I enjoy satisfaction with Jesus? How do I experience true joy here on earth? By knowing Him. By knowing Jesus and having a relationship with Him brings us true joy. Knowing Jesus is how true joy is found. Not all the things that He can give to us, not all the things that we want, not the outfit we want, not the fantasies we desire, not all the benefits that Jesus has. Truly, it comes from actually knowing Jesus. Similar to this. Someday, when you get in a relationship, some of you are probably there now. Why do you get in a relationship? Is it because you love paying for 2 chicken fries at Burger King all the time? Is it because, oh my gosh, at Christmas time, I'm going to get a check from their family? And I didn't even realize that, but man, this is pretty sweet, right? Is it because I'm going to get a gift from them at Christmas time and I can't wait for that? Is it because, man, I get to go to Thanksgiving with them? No. Why do you get in a relationship with somebody else? Because you enjoy them. Because you enjoy them. You're not focused on all the perks that come with it. You're focused on the relationship because you enjoy them. And that's what it's like with Jesus. You get to have joy because of Him. You get to enjoy Him because Jesus didn't just die to save you from sin. And some of you might not be tracking, but track with me here. Jesus died so that God could live within you. So that He could live within all of us. So that we could be with God and never separated from Him. So now the Spirit lives in us. His life-giving Spirit lives in us when we become a Christian. And now we have things like authority over the things of this world. We have authority over sickness, authority over disease, authority over shame, authority over fear, authority over anxiety, authority over depression, authority over loneliness. Why? Because the Spirit of God lives in us because Jesus died on a cross for you and me. He died so that we could have life.